fresh off of CPR training.
Woo, if anybody has a medical emergency. I'm good.
I'm good.
Oh.
Let's rock and roll.
All right.
All right, Board of Health Program Policy Appeals Committee, September 19, 2022, 12:59 p.m. right now, and we will call to order, please.
All right. Commissioner Wiley,
Present.
Commissioner Matthew,
Present.
and Commissioner Engel is absent. Okay.
You got the roll call? Thank you. Now is the time for the public comments. Those of you who are standing, you may want to speak first. Then those of you who are sitting, you can follow the others, please. Thank you. Anybody on the line? Nobody.
Just us.
We have a new business strategic plan.
Yeah. So excited to finally have this at the, like, you know, almost at the end of the road.
Yes.
So this is the final draft. It contains all of the touches and information and outlines our plan, what we're going to tackle, and the dates upon which we intend to complete those items. Of course, every good strategic plan is routinely reviewed, and dates can change as time goes on, but really super proud of everybody's effort, and looking for the Board of Health to formally accept the strategic plan, and we'll put it on record and get to work. So.
Refresh my memory.
Yeah.
Did we have it wrote down, or what's the time frame for review or for redo or?
4 years. It's
Okay.
a 4-year plan. And
what page is that on?
ooh, that's a good question.
'Cause I know we talked about it, but I was looking for that earlier and I couldn't come up with it.
Do you mean page 5?
I mean page 2. It says right on the cover.
In my letter?
Oh,
Oh.
your letter? No, I was talking about the cover of the strategic plan.
Oh, well, it does give you the dates right there on the cover.
Oh, okay, okay.
But in my letter, I talk about a 4-year plan, but I thought it was somewhere in the body text too.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I know it's in here because I read it, but.
I thought I had seen it in there, but, you know, that's the only question I have. Other than that, I'm happy to see it come to fruition.
Me too. Especially after the false start, basically what it was. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to find it because I'm trying to rush, but
Right.
it is a 4-year plan.
Well, and as Teresa pointed out, it is on the cover page of a 4-year strategic plan. So
Yeah.
that in itself, and it dictates when we start reviewing again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Assuming I'm still here.
Any of us are still here.
This is true.
You never know. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah.
And we get a report from the quarterly or so, I think I read.
So what we will do is, as this is operationalized, we'll provide updates to the Board of Health on progress on the metrics. So yeah, you know, that will be a normal part of reporting moving forward.
So you need action here to recommend to the board?
To the full board, yep. Yep.
Now, I would recommend that we move this forward to the full meeting or full board meeting for approval.
Second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for good work.
Yeah,
Staff behind the scene, lot of work, and seminars or activities appreciated.
yeah.
Next is public comment rules.
Well, agency holidays first, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you jumped one.
Did I miss? Yeah, holidays. Yeah.
Yep, holidays.
So we had brought this forward, but no action had been taken, so we're bringing it back.
Okay.
So.
Did you make any changes, or is this exactly what we looked at previously?
This is exactly what you looked at previously with no changes.
We have already 11, now you are thinking about 14, am I correct?
So what I think we had talked about before was trying to be consistent with the counties. I don't know that the counties have 14.
No.
11, I think, I can be wrong.
I'm not sure. Do we know what branch
I
counties are?
recall we mentioned about the Juneteenth veterans and another day. Commissioner Wiley, I believe, brought that up, and he and I think, didn't want it at that time, but I don't know today. Just my memory, if it is correct.
Well, first thing is you don't take away anything they've already got. So the 11 days is pretty much there. I'm actually shocked, and I think I stated this previously, that Veterans Day is not among our list of days off. So I guess I'm not in favor of general election day. I think that's gotten a little bit out of hand. Polls are open till 8 p.m. You know, people can go vote.
We are not open past 6 o'clock.
Right.
Even on our late clinic days, so, yeah.
So, and for that matter, a lot of people anymore, I mean, I'm surprised at the number of absentee ballots.
Yes.
And some of those are just simply the people that are working that don't want to try and fit both into the same day, which that's okay too. At least they exercise their right to vote. But the Juneteenth holiday, the way Hillsdale left that was we were going to review it annually. So Juneteenth is a crapshoot at this point as to whether that'll be recognized by Hillsdale County. If we're looking, you know, to have some semblance between the counties and the department. So with that all said, I'd be in favor of adding Veterans Day so that the agency observes 12 holidays, and that would be my recommendation to the board, is that we approve a holiday schedule of the current 11 plus Veterans Day. So.
Make a motion.
Yep, so moved.
So moved.
I think Teresa was busy writing that down.
I second. That means we'll have a 12.
Yep.
Committee.
Can we make that effective next year, not in the current calendar year?
It'd be a calendar year.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be good because we have a training scheduled, I think, on Veterans Day.
We do.
Yeah.
So, if you want to make that friendly amendment, and if Tom's okay with that, we'd make that effective January 1 of 23.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. All righty.
So that means we'll have a 12. So Veterans Day, we so honored if our colleagues accept it. I think that is very important.
We'll make that recommendation.
Last time also, you have vividly explained.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
All right.
Do we have to do a roll call? Or?
No, just.
Aye.
I mean, when you've already moved and supported it.
Yeah, it's pretty much done.
Thank you for the veterans especially.
Okay.
Next is
Public comment.
Public comment rules.
So, a few months ago, you had requested some additional clarification with regards to basically what amounts to decorum at meetings for public comment. And I did get some additional clarification from Andy on that. I think I'm missing a page of the bylaws.
Cannot afford
On
that.
page 25 of the packet.
What is? Oh,
Oh, it's just not highlighted. I'm looking for it to be highlighted.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to print it in black and white. It got rid of that. Sorry, it's Article 5, Section 3.
Yeah, and the last sentence.
5, Section 3, okay.
So the, Andy's comments I sent to you, they're attorney-client privilege, so I can't discuss them here.
Right.
But based on his, information that he had to me, I added this sentence that you can take it or leave it. But that sentence that says speakers are requested to provide comments that are civil and respectful and not to swear or use expletives or make derogatory or disparaging comments about any one person or group. Or you can wordsmith this, or you can just take no action and leave it as it is, or did you want to read that?
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Well, whatever we do here today isn't going forward to the full board at this meeting on Thursday, because these bylaws have a recommendation or a requirement that any changes are shared with board members 10 days in advance in writing, which we have not met. So
Right.
it can't go to this meeting.
They could talk about it.
They can talk about
They can talk about it, but they can't take action until
Except
October.
if it, from the PPP, if it move out, we don't know, it will move out from here.
Right.
Right.
It may not. It may not. Did you want to see the email I sent you? Is that what you're looking
I'm
for?
looking for something else.
Okay. This Thursday.
So,
This thing's not cooperating.
I know it's early this month. Just the way it goes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes,
you want,
I would like 1 minute, please. I'm getting everybody but the one I want.
the page, Teresa mentioned, page 2, that middle.
Yeah, I'm looking for something
Oh, okay.
from our county attorney,
If you
though.
make a motion, in the discussion, I would like to enter in 2, please.
I'll make a motion that we accept that language.
Okay,
Or, let me rephrase that, Tom, excuse me.
thank you.
Motion would read that we present that language to the full board for approval.
I second.
Thank you.
Any discussion, please?
I can't find it. What I was gonna look up was, we got a letter from our county attorney, and to kind of encapsulate, since I can't find it, he indicated that language like that is appropriate because of the simple fact that Michigan does have liable laws. And just because you're up there speaking at public comment does not exempt you from liable action. And so, you know, we've run into some of the same nonsense in Hillsdale that we've run in here, and I think Tom's commissioner meetings have probably experienced some of the same things. And so I have emphasized in one of our last meetings, one of the speakers got dangerously close, and I stopped him for a moment and said, "You're getting close, and just keep in mind that there are liable laws that you may." And so the speaker did kind of back down a little bit, but, you know, we've got to start using the law to our advantage, so to speak, to just curb some of this. And, you know, we've tolerated it probably far too long. But you know. That's the only comments I have, but other than that, I'm good with sending it to the board as is rewritten, so.
Thank you, Commissioner Wiley. Very wonderful thoughts you have. However, the line 3, may I read? Line, the last, second line from the last on paragraph, section 3. Speakers are requested to provide comments that are civil and respectful. I would like to stop right there, in my opinion. Then says, and not to swear or use expletives or make derogatory or disparaging comments about any one person or group. I agree with that in the substance of it. But a speaker is speaking, he or she is, we already asked, please have a civil or respectful way to communicate. Then we are a very free country. We all have the opinion. I think we should put that in the speakers column, not us to tell them that, hey, you cannot speak swears, you cannot use expletives or derogatory or disparaging comments. Then we have to put in the parenthesis, what is really with the words? I went into dictionary and looked at some of them. Some are not there, what I hear in public. So who is going to, is the chair, or who is going to say this is a swearing word, or expletives? I am from a family, we never swear or use foul language. Doesn't matter how bad the situation is. We just wash our hand and walk away or something. So I have a problem with that.
So you would end it at respectful and just leave the rest of it off?
Leave it as it is.
Okay.
Unless, if I may, if we put in parentheses saying these are the words cannot use, that we can,
Well, I guess with all due respect, Tom, I guess I would let the board, I mean, we can bring it to the board as such, and you can certainly explain to the board your thoughts at that time, but I think for us, as the Policy and Appeals, I think we move the whole thing as it is, and then we have that discussion
and we put
with the whole board.
and we put a break here. We have a means to do that.
Oh, yeah. We can move the whole thing.
Or stop.
And, yeah, or we can break it up, but I guess I'd rather get the full board's opinion, quite frankly. Because the other issue here is that, although all of us in the room are educated individuals and understand the simple part that where you want it stopped as far as civil and respectful, we need to add that other part for that other part of the public that is not so educated. And I mean, I hate to say it that way, but you've almost got to spell this stuff out in a language that's more understandable. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's the world we live in. We've got people that it's got to be very basic and very forthright for them to understand it,
Yeah, if I may, again,
Yep.
I agree with you 100% what you are saying, and but again, the freedom of speech, that's where my key issue is. No other. What Commissioner Wiley indicated, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But the freedom of expression to the people who come in, we are again put our legal fees and time and energy again and again. You and I serve many commissions and boards across the state. We are the only one, if I may say, we are the only one who are spending so much time on this particular subject. Nowhere else so far come up
I don't know, I've got a couple, but
in this particular issue.
yeah, on this particular issue. I guess I'm just more comfortable with moving the whole thing, Tom, and then let's have this discussion as a full board, you know?
Right. If I
That makes
might.
sense?
I agree with you, but I am very reluctant. I would like to,
If I might
Please.
suggest, maybe the motion is that you move it to the full board without recommendation, since you don't
You
agree.
good with that?
no,
We're in a hung jury.
so
Then it doesn't pass. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
you have the motion, I second it, we can take a roll call vote, please.
okay.
It's still gonna hang,
Commissioner Wiley?
yes.
Commissioner Matthew?
No.
Thank you.
That's fine. So, moving on.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Wiley.
What's next?
The lease. So we also brought this to, oh, you got it?
Found it.
Okay. We also brought this to the Finance Committee, so they've also had a chance to take a look at it. And I'm just going to let Teresa talk a little bit about what Administrator Norman provided us here, because you did such a nice job earlier this morning, so.
Yeah, so I did insert 2 pages into your packet. It starts after page 26. They look kind of like this. They don't have page numbers on them, but I did insert them this morning. They were not in the stuff that I emailed you because I did not have them until this morning. We had asked, or the board had asked us to go back and negotiate and do some work with Administrator Norman. We met with him, we discussed things, and we had another meeting where he brought back information. I had additional questions that I didn't feel were answered appropriately, and so he went back and asked more questions and did more research, and we are now at a point where I feel like we know everything that we can know about that situation when it occurred. So basically, if you look at this page, there were two bonds that were set up at that particular time. The one bond for $2 million, which is noted as number 1 here, was for the renovation of the building that we are occupying. The other bond is number 2 there. That was for the building that is directly behind us that DHHS occupies. So looking only at the first bond, the $2 million bond, we occupy 73% of that is what they calculated based on the square footage. And the payment back on the bond with interest and all of the frill would have been equal to $3,270,071.88. Our portion of that, because we only occupy 73% of that building, would have equated to $2,387,952.48. If you annualize the rent that we pay, it comes out to, 68,000 and some change, times the 20 years, that equals $1,366,627.20, which does not cover our portion of the cost to have that building renovated for our use. So there would be still a balance left on the repayment of that bond of a little over $1 million, basically. So,
Which equates out to about another 15 years beyond the 20.
long story short, we did not pay for the renovations and the rent over the last 20 years as we originally thought. So we still do have money that should be owed to Branch County if the agreement was to pay the entire cost of, or our portion of that bond. So we have not met that obligation, if that's what the agreement was.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Did we have the opportunity to discuss this with this morning?
finance.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yes, we did discuss it with finance this morning, and there was a lot of discussion. They want us to counter back to Branch County on the current lease agreement and indicate that we will keep the capital improvement fund. So we would pay the county the $3,600 roughly and keep the $2,000 instead of having Branch County keep that for the capital improvement fund. And they also asked for that language to be cleaned up to indicate what the 2,000 can be used for. So, during that discussion, there was one thing that I thought that came out that I hadn't considered, that Rebecca pointed out. In prior years, Branch County was paying, that bond was paid off. So in prior years, Branch County was paying more than.
Well, when we get down to, because we were also talking about the local appropriations and how much each county pays, and there was a question about in-kind, and if in-kind can be added to the cash, and that's not how maintenance of effort is calculated, it's calculated on cash. So if you want to compare, which is very difficult to compare, fairness from what one county pays to another, you have to look at the fact that it appears that Branch County potentially over those 20 years has, not only paid off the bond, but also paid their share of the local appropriations, which would potentially equate to a larger payment than the other two counties.
If I may add, and also I'm representing Branch County. However, generally speaking, from the administration, from the clerks, or rather the finance department, treasurer, all benefit to us, health agency, many things you and I do not know they have been doing for years, at least in my knowledge, since September 2019, to which you may not know or you already know, but the public may not know.
Teresa and I actually talked about that after the finance committee ended, that, because Branch County is the fiduciary, the staff that are paid by Branch County do work that supports the local health department with regards to finance. So that is true. And we don't pay anything towards those individuals' wages. Mark's doing some math.
While Commissioner Wiley is going through thinking about, I can say is that so far you have discussed, I go along with that, and to bring forward to the whole body. I have been reviewed by the Branch County, but I don't want to.
So if I could, the finance committee, I think, is looking for this to go to the October meeting, because they have asked that, I think it's a great conversation to have at the September meeting, but I don't know that we're ready for action yet. But I do think that the full board should be engaged in the conversation. But, with regards to asking for the $2,000 to be held by the health department instead of by the county, and then ensuring that that fund is 60%?
Yeah, that we only pay 60%.
That fund is used for 60% of repairs, not 100% of repairs. Those were some of the things that they requested this morning.
But what are the benefits, perhaps maybe next meeting or October you can explain, what are the benefits, those $2,000 each being the hands of directly to the Branch County or whatever county, and if it is in the health agency, what are the pro and con? I would like to know. Of
Sure.
course, I will, eventually I plan to discuss with here, Branch County people, where they are standing. I do not know about that.
So I think I could take this one. Right now, we pay 60% of all maintenance to that building, and Branch County pays 40%. And the Finance Committee was concerned that the $2,000 that we have set aside will be used to pay for Branch County's 40% and not the Health Department's 60%. And the intention is that that $2,000 is to pay for the Health Department's section of that, or cost of that.
That is for the maintenance both inside and out?
Yes.
It's more like repairs. So, I mean, when I think of maintenance, I also think of cleaning, but it's not for that kind of stuff. It's,
Capital improvements.
yeah.
How was the, say that again, who pays the 40?
Branch County pays 40%, and we pay 60% because we occupy 60% of the building.
What'd you come out with, cost per square foot?
5-ish?
As far as the rent cost per square foot, I think it was $5.15, but that's speaking from memory, which I don't recall specifically, but it was around $5.
The total rent annually is the 68,000 number,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and our square footage that we're leasing is 22,420.
According to Administrator Norman, yes, that is correct. I'm not sure that that number matches my number.
That doesn't come out to $5 a square foot, it comes out to 3 something. That's why I ask.
Yeah, I think the calculation that he's including here with 22,000 includes the conference rooms, and I don't think that we included those in our number when we calculated the $5,
Okay.
the large conference rooms.
Because even at $5, that's a steal.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
yes. it's
Now,
well-
even, it probably helps balance out when you're looking at, you're paying 60% of maintenance. That probably helps balance it out, but I don't know that it'd balance out that much, because a few years back, it's been within the last 5, at least anything we had was coming in that 12 to 15 range.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's, I think, 10 to 12 is what I was told, but that may be low
yeah.
now per square foot, so.
We looked at commercial space, like down by where the grocery store used to be, just down the street, and it came in at 10 to 12.
Yeah.
down there.
Well, one of the problems on looking at any of this is finding comparables.
Mm.
And I know we struggled in Hillsdale to find comparables. So then there has to be some interpolation that, you know. But I think even if you use 10 to 13, 10 to 14 in that ballpark, you're still, this is not that bad of a deal, but I do agree 100%. And I like I like some of the language on this, on the back of the page there, as far as the, you know, capital improvement fund. You know, I guess the only language that needs to be added is that, you know, we maintain those in a restricted fund, because I don't like the idea of, you know, but, you know, the last line there, basically, if I'm reading that correctly, should the health department ever vacate, that money that's in that restricted CIF fund goes back to Branch County, correct?
That's how it's written, and this is some of that section that the Finance Committee asked to be changed.
Well, I think the money should go back to Branch County when the lease is, well, not necessarily when the lease is done, but when if and when we ever were to vacate, I don't think that money goes back until we've actually vacated.
So so what the finance committee asked is that we hold the 2,000.
Right,
This is set up so that the county would
Right.
hold the 2,000.
that would have to be changed.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I agree. The health department needs to hold that. And of course, you'd have to check with accounting, but I think that'd probably have to be in some sort of restricted fund.
I think this is a good issue to bring up for conversation so that all 6 commissioners can talk about it.
Absolutely.
I don't think we're ready for any movement on Thursday, but I think a discussion is
Yeah.
necessary.
I agree with you in that regard. However, what about already 2 years lapsed, isn't it?
So there's a continuation clause in the current lease. We were just talking about that in the meeting. So, I mean, we're on a month to month right now.
I know, I personally, I mean, we have some,
Mhm.
business, not this kind, different. Uh, People who have business, they like to have a long term so they can plan, plus we can too. So I have, privately, I have talked to concerned this side of the spectrum. We need to address as soon as possible, not necessarily next meeting or October. We have already passed 2 years.
I want it settled before January, because we are going to have at least one new commissioner on the Board of Health, in January. And so I would like this lease to be settled at the end of this calendar year. And here's the number that's in the lease, the 13,800 square feet.
Yeah, I just found that myself.
Yeah, so,
Which changes the dynamics.
the numbers are what the numbers are.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, Rebecca, I want to make sure that I don't leave anything unfinished for our next chairman.
That's
I
right.
want to make sure he has a new
Switch
start,
chairs
new
too.
beginning.
How can we be at the end of the year already? That's what I want to know.
And me too, camping season's almost over, that really blows.
It sure does.
I only request my next chairman, he needs to start 5 minutes early.
Dream on. If anything, we're gonna start having the meetings on West Coast time or something, or maybe
Uh-oh.
Central time.
Yeah. Move them to the afternoon.
Uh, Shoot. Yeah, that changes, based on that 1380, that brings it in at 495 per square foot.
Yeah.
But this is not an inclusive lease.
Right.
Because I also just ran across the part that you're not only paying 60% of maintenance, but you're paying 60% of all utilities.
Yes.
So you're right up there in that $10, $12 range real quick when you start adding in maintenance and utilities.
We have a choice. Don't use any utilities.
We can go Amish, huh? We'll have oil lanterns out there and.
We could figure out probably what those, I mean, we've got the records. We could pull the additional.
Well, you'd only have to pull 1 year's worth to give you a ballpark.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be interesting if we're gonna have this discussion on Thursday, if Teresa could. I know you had dinner plans tonight, right? But 60% of the utilities the maintenance would be the biggest variable.
Pretty sure that I
Utilities are
already
gonna
have
be-
that from a previous
I think you
meeting.
Yeah.
Or we put
Utilities are
together.
fairly constant, I mean, month to month, I would think.
I'm pretty sure that was in a previous board packet when we were talking about the lease.
It could have been.
We put a chart together. Did Renee do that?
I think so too.
Well, this packet was easy. to scroll through. The one for Lifeways is 199 pages.
Oh my.
That's Wednesday night. I don't think we'll get out of there very early.
Yeah, my goodness.
Yeah, that's a hell of a pack.
So it looks like,
You know, nothing's the same. So there's, you know, this is the largest office, contains the, you know, the administrative functions. So it has the most staff and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, our Hillsdale office is actually our smallest office. And our St. Joe County office, you know, isn't a lot larger than Hillsdale, but it has more staff. I don't know square footage wise where we stand, but it's very difficult to compare because things aren't necessarily comparable, you know?
yeah, and this is where it gets into, it's hard to even figure out without going back through each detailed invoice. We get one invoice from the county that has, you know, it's this thick, and it has all the different bills and 60%. And then, you know, it includes maintenance, it includes the gas bill, it includes all of those bills together. So to get it out, you have to go back to those that come in quarterly and go back through. Yeah, and it's even hard to compare just maintenance bills because Hillsdale County maintenance included cleaning for 16 and 17 and 17 and 18. But Branch County includes the utilities and the maintenance. It is very difficult to compare them.
Well, I'm okay with having a discussion, and you don't need to go back necessarily. I think it just needs to be noted that, you know, we're under the $10 to $12 range, but the 60% as far as maintenance utilities probably makes it up. If somebody on Thursday wants to do, if Brent wants to do the deep dive, he can come help Teresa.
Well, I mean, we do have this document. I just found what I was looking for. We do have this document from before, and it did raise a lot of questions because we paid a lot of money to Branch County for that parking lot.
Right.
So, you know, we spent a lot of money in Branch County in 21.
So we don't need any parking lot?
Not in Branch County anymore. It's brand
we
new.
got that one done.
Right.
Well, I think,
So I do have, you know, utilities costs, county maintenance costs. So I do have this from what we did in May, which kind of indicates that, breaks that out. But it does show that, you know, Branch County was heavily, a lot more money in this, because of the parking lot was the biggest. I mean, 213,000 in the Branch County parking lot.
now, is that the reflection of 21 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a really big parking lot.
It is, and
Yep.
Well, and then, you know, they had to do the structural work to shore it up. Thank you, crappy soils. Well, there is that.
Well, you look at that field just to the north of the sheriff's department. That's got some swamp holes or sinkholes in it, so there's no question in my mind where the sheriff's department and these other buildings, I'm sure that was all similar. You know, they built it on a swamp, basically.
Nobody else wanted it, so then they built
Right.
buildings on it, yeah.
Why not?
It was cheap.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. Yep. I'd forgot about that. Right, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's been a day or two ago, though. All right. I'm good, Tom, as far as just bringing that as a discussion item.
I second that
Yeah.
motion.
Yep.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, and we forward CW building lease. And next is flu shots.
Yep, so you can go over this afternoon. They're expecting you, Mark.
Okay, thank you.
So you can, or you can wait, I think. I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers, that we will be back in our building in October. In fact, one of the items that we will bring up at the board meeting also is a change of venue for the meetings beginning in October.
We have, you are going to give us all, including the Gannett USA Today, all of us give a shot
If you wish.
on October.
I'm waiting until October.
Yeah, we, you know, it'll be easier in October because we'll be there, right? Yeah. 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 Not trying that? Yeah, so, that's will come up at the meeting, and, I don't think I have anything else. I think we're ready to wrap it up.
We can adjourn.
Adjourn, and we want to thank our USA Today Gannett. Many people don't know when we take our local papers, 200 some papers also, it is free. Many people don't know. I was talking to another meeting.
Discovered all the people around here who spend the winter in Florida have now discovered that. And they subscribe to the USA Today papers that can get at
Yes.
the same time.
Mr. Reed, you may want to inform us, older citizens